Welcome everyone to another amazing live stream. The official Linux testing and bug fixing foundation here live on YouTube. Testing stuff. Is it not crazy that nearly every, I would say every machine I take here, and that's not even an SJ02, which also had multiple broken things like frame buffer to work with X. But even, or PS3, which every year is upstream broken, that it doesn't even boot or storage doesn't work and so on. Even a relatively mainstream, Apple shipped millions of devices, Apple G5, that worked for soon 20 years, 15 years, perfectly. I only wanted to test my Firefox build, right? You work for 25 years, build a Linux distribution, like everything works. Then you turn on your G5 and the latest kernel, actually I wanted to, the latest kernel doesn't even boot anymore. Maybe that is, I'm speculating here now. Of course I posted this to Instagram, where you, like photo sharing service. It's like, yeah, that is all I see. Most likely, and the irony is, I was sure it will work because I so much to testing, more testing, and QEMU. In QEMU it actually worked, right? So much to unit test and continuous integration test with QEMU. Maybe that is also what upstream Linux kernel and IBM developers use now. It's like, hey, it boots in QEMU. Yeah, but that's all I get on real hardware. It could be a relatively small thing, although that could be annoying to fix. The ELF version 2 ABI, right, that we recently had to disable for P3, and then amazing IBM colleagues of ours, I think it was Nick, of IBM fame, actually implemented P3 hypervisor call ABI support for P3. So now the crazy stuff is we fixed everything so perfectly to work on the P3. Doesn't boot on Apple Mac Power Mac anymore. And the thing is that these are not my bugs, right? These are all the upstream bugs. Recurrently underlining not only my finding, never change a running system, and the only constant is change and regressions. Absolutely crazy now. Instead of quickly, all I wanted to do is quickly see, very quickly, also hour long, of course, probably the Firefox doesn't, like that we compiled the other day, would not just work on PowerPC, because why should it? Because it's all we want, right? And the irony is, it's not even only me. Actually, in the comments, in my YouTube comments, because obviously we become here the center of the open source, certainly testing and regression fixing universe. Actually, a viewer and probably subscriber, which probably want to do for all the latest and greatest reports of testing and working on stuff, a viewer even commented, "Hey, Linux doesn't boot for me anymore on Apple Power." And I was like, "Dude, probably works. It works in QEMU. Boots on PS3. I was like 99% sure. Of course it will work, right? Because that is the one mainstream stuff probably some old IBM developer has in his basement or store. But the viewer was right. And that is the confidence, right? We work here day and night on this stuff. 99%, of course it will work. More. So yeah, multiple recurring things to do, including logging in here. What is my password? Here, my previous YouTube edited video is Q Apple never sold because I aftermarket upgraded. This is my first-hand purchase directly from Apple G5 with the 2. How much even? 2.5 gigahertz. What did I even had? Did I had 2 gigahertz? Did I had 2 or 2.3? I forgot. Whatever I had originally. Maybe I can actually look this up. So a SKU, it's like, yeah, it's basically half the water-cooled thing, right? But thanks for Apple, it actually worked. You know, Apple locking their shit often. Let's quickly, and then let's get started. Apple desktop G5, did I had here? 2 gigahertz. So I probably updated this. I mean, maybe 2.3 existed, but usually back in the day, I mean, this thing was expensive enough. Although I got it a little bit cheaper, I got it as relative brought it for me, who worked at Apple at the time. So it has it came with some 20-ish or whatever % of employee discount, which, yeah, only 1,600, 700, whatever, right? So from 2,000 down to 1,000, whatever, yeah. SKU was expensive enough. So that's probably my original config. And now I have 2 point. Yeah, it's good that I document all my hardware on my own website so that I even know what I even had or have. Let's grab the coffee. Because your views, your subscribes, your Patreon, and certainly coffee is what, aka buymeacoffee.com or whatever, is what keeps all this bug fixing alive. And is it not amazing? 2024 New Year's resolution, everything is amazing. Isn't it amazing that people, IBM people and stuff, break the Linux kernel so often that we each day have something to live stream? Is it not amazing? Thank you so much, everyone, that we have content, YouTube content to fill live stream our maybe hard developer life. Let's see if all the rest works. So that is here, we can also tmux it. It's a slightly older installation, as you see, 2017. Certainly time to upgrade, because obviously you need the latest T2 release, necessity for successful and gracious IT living. So what I usually do, maybe I even have it here. Oh yeah, newer, yeah. So I tested stuff in between, right? It's just I didn't bother to install. So mkdir new. Also, this is some garbage term, yeah, whatever, something. Let's create an even newer dir. New 2024 for freaking Firefox. So that I usually change roots, especially when a bloody new kernel doesn't boot. And welcome everyone. So SCP, the 19. I should give this proper names for. Actually, like when I was a student and I had time, my machines had so nice names. For example, my IBM B50, actually there, over there, because that was one of my biggest machines as a student, that obviously was named Obelix. I believe my iBook, which I sold as a student because I probably needed the money, my 800 or so megahertz iBook was fittingly named Asterix, obviously, how you name your small portable thing, right? So that was Asterix and Obelix. Just in case of if you need inspiration how to name your freaking machines. Nowadays often I name my stuff just like the CPU 1750X, like doesn't need Obelix, it's or overkill. It's secure shell from 1750X is also fine enough. I probably should. I mean, other things have actually DNS names here, just like my new temporary test build bricks and stuff. It's like anyway, 222. Then all this good stuff here of that galore of all this to probably here. That would be that. That is copying at a whopping. So that is, yeah, I think the NIC, it's a gigabit NIC, right? So that is epic thread ripping crypto at the whopping 60-ish megabyte. But yeah, the G5, what was it? Was it hypertransport? What did it say? Was it AMD licensed hypertransport or whatever? Anyway, so for p in tar do mine root here ifv p done. This is installing a distribution in 1 minute. It's like, why don't you contribute another Linux distribution? Yeah, because I love my Linux distribution and it is a necessity for gracious living. So let's reinstate the ABI. So we had here previously, ironically, I had the patch PS3 imported. So yeah, ironically, I imported the IBM NIC, I believe. I think Nick did that. That's a cool thing, right? On my YouTube channel, hey, we could port the PS3 LV1 hypervisor calls to ELF version 2 ABI, and then some days later, IBM, Nick from IBM, hey, here's an LV1 hypervisor ABI patch. Cool. It's like, I need to make more YouTube videos to motivate other people to do patches. It's amazing. I should call out more often stuff to get stuff fixed. I guess it's this one here. Let's see. could have even better. So yeah, that is Big Onion Elf ABI. So so that is all right. I delete. All right, I need the other PS3. So probably I reverted this with this patch. Let's see. No, I did not for some reason. Okay, we can also. Oh no, we can't. Or maybe we can. Can we SVN log from that revision? Log that to head of. What was the? Maybe we can't. Often subversion is picky. Restored partial still reverted. Edit whatever. Hotfix Linux kernel OS PowerPC. Do not run on the Clubber PS3. I don't instantly see. Should I not have reverted this with patch? Okay, let's see if the binaries work. So let's delete all the tail stuff. If we need some anyway, we can later redo that. Why do I have a... I probably copied that. Packages DB. So change root here, and that works, amazing. Then, so that's of course a dead old kernel from 2000 whatever, 19 or whatnot. That's of course not ideal now, but bind mount bind dev. Oops. What? Probably need another keyboard that doesn't proc. And by the way, you can do this slightly cooler. Like I'm aware. Sometimes I even like when I script this, I usually script it. It's like, yeah, you can do it cooler, and then you. What keyboard letter do I have today? Damn it. It's like that to that. It's just a little bit. Nah, so. Probably. What else do we need? Temp and then dev pts and then change root here, and that should be actually a full environment. You also want, all right. Then let's run some post install stuff like a UTF-8 local, otherwise, yeah. What else would we need? Ideally run post install CA certificates and shared MIME info and maybe some GTK stuff, not that some icon. GTK, this is also never too many post install things. While we, so yeah, we want to start an X server. Right, also best with name resolution. Just some random shit, doesn't matter. Let's then capture our addiction to checking out our own Subversion repository. And welcome everyone, amazing that you all tune in. Let's take a quick look at the comments while we wait for stuff. And good morning everyone, PowerPC forever, of course, especially here on this channel. In our precious collection of PS3s. That's how I name. What? Then I got a power. What? And a cheese grater, 2 times CPU, 970MP, G5 as well, awesome machine, but heated up the room nicely. Yeah, it's. I think it's over 100 watt idle, over 150 watt fully loaded. Then got in PowerPC, Power Mac Intel, faster, cooler, and used DDR3 memory, retired. Tried to install Gen 2 on eMac, G4, but X kept crashing. It's like, yeah, this is also like Upstream constantly breaks shit, right? Like basically, why did I turn to YouTube? To finance my addiction for gracious living of just fixing everything. Like if we wouldn't constantly change APIs and stuff like to, it's like everything would freaking work TM, right? Like I wanted to say, I probably should make a dedicated video, not only mention important things here in between, but one important thing in between. Imagine every major developer of the probably 10,000 like really AAA major developers like Linus Torvalds and stuff. If every developer would only one machine, like one secondary, like the latest and greatest epic thread wrapping and stuff workstation, but only one, like one vintage computer that they loved from their past experience, like a G4 Cube or an SG Octane, like only one, not like 23 like only one. And every major developer would keep one machine tested, and like it's super easy, right? I do this like on an hour, like 1 hour this fix, 1 hour that fix, and so on. Like I fix 364 major issues a year, and I'm not expecting every Linus Torvalds to do that, but just one. Everyone just one, right? One person worked maybe at SGI. They keep their SG02 around and stuff. Another worked at IBM. They keep their IBM PCs whatever around, like just one, and they would boot it every quarter and fix what's broken. Everything would be in perfect shape, right? But the bare minimum of attention to detail and appreciation of their history and keeping the IT industry together, like the ambitions and dedications are, unfortunately, as seen by all the many regressions there for years, they're very, very slim. Planned obsolescence, right? And it's somehow very sad. Everything could be in totally working shape. Could be, but isn't. So let's see what happens if I run start X. I have no idea. It's a Novo. It's an NG. X comes up. I don't have a mouse on it. Let me grab a mouse. I have keyboards, but I have only one trackball on my tail. Here, precious vintage Logitech. Oh, that is a freaking short cable. That's unfortunate. Would help if keyboards had. What is it? Oh shit! The Mac only has one USB port in the phone. Need a keyboard with USB hub. But of course, we also have a keyboard with USB hub, like professionals do in there. By the way, very, very rare in the meantime, right? So slim wired. Cable nearly too short. A little bit under tension, that's also not ideal. Of course, I'm not using an Apple mouse because that only has one mouse button, and that truly sucks operating true Unix. Do we have mouse or? Oh, no, we don't have mouse for some reason. Why do we not have mouse? Does this not do auto recovery for some? Maybe it is an old. I mean, maybe the auto discovery. I mean, it's. Would we have sway? Is this a large enough? Do I not have sway in there? This is somehow. Why is this? Why did this not build sway? Was it not yet? Why did? Okay, just did we not build sway? No, somehow we didn't. Okay, fine, then we don't have sway there for some reason. Okay, let's run this. It's a base system is running some use, like we change rooted that, so maybe some UDEF incompatibility of the usual amazing stuff, but we can start something manually. Also, you want this in Tmux, I guess. Oops. Just for 16 by 10 to 16 by 9. Display 0 export xterm. Does it come up? That comes up. I mean, I don't have mouse, but it comes up. GDK demos. It's always starting with the lowest hanging fruit here. Does this start or crash? It starts. Yay! It starts without crashing. Now the elephant in the room. Of course, the segmentation faults. Oh, bloody hell. I did not expect it anything less. more. I mean, can we? So yeah, let's know. It's like we need to analyze what is it doing. Handling, default log, browser, purge cache. TG. I mean, the segmentation as the log looks not too dissimilar to x86 actually, 32-bit. So the problem is which the core dump is from. Because the question is it really that core dumped, or because it also spawns some threads? So previously, I said this in yesterday's also live stream already. I wonder why they have this twice. It's also really waste. Like when developers don't know what they're doing, they ship even binaries twice in lib of all things. Not really sure what's. I mean, they are identical, right? So YOLO, I guess. Yeah. GDB, run that. Yeah, the stack frame looks as amazing. The backtrace looks as amazing as it does on x86. So the benefit is that this is high performance silicon and not some x86 rubbish, even dual core and stuff. So we can more comfortably debug that, and maybe the crash will be similar. We will see. So first we need to solve the latest kernel. So that would be that, or do I still have that in there? If I didn't, so that is hotfix PowerPC PS3 FABI. Wait, do I have? Maybe I. You know what? That is what I did. I reused this. This is why the subversion history confused me. So basically, what we want is copy that to. So copy, first copy that to, actually maybe we leave it like this. So that is hotfix PowerPC P3 FABI. Okay, this patch name is relatively perfect. Then we rather do it differently. We copy that here, the old revision that should work like this. Why don't you use Git? Because such things you can't do in Git. Copy an old revision of that. There's also monoculture, right? Not everyone needs to use Git. Not only I find subversion orders of magnitudes easier, it is totally enough for what we want to do. And many of my use cases are orders of magnitude more efficient than subversion, like partially switching old revisions and stuff, which is probably extremely hard in Git. I would need to actually, I mean, I lightly used Git for 10 years already, but every complex shit I need to Google, and I would even need to read the whole freaking manual to know if you can even like subdirectories selectively get old revisions. Maybe not, whatever. Anyway, so copy this old revision to hotfix PowerPC FABI version 1. So the difference is that one enables, so we keep the P3 patch that is upstream, but maybe we, like, why delete it when we have it already? And default, if LD is LLD, do we build actually with, actually with which compiler do we currently build? Do we build with Clang? PowerPC, that is also complexity, right? Each architecture we now build. No, we don't yet. So then we would need to rebuild that. PowerPC 6432. And hope for the best. And if that is not fixing it, it will be an hour-long ordeal of bisecting. I would not even know which is the last kernel that worked, because I neglected the G5 a little bit. I tested so much PS3 because I thought there is so much community of vintage and retro loving Apple Power Macintosh fans of PowerPC fame. that it couldn't come to my mind that it also needs my attention to even track regressions on that, right? Like if you think 10,000 users of that, like from previously millions, but the small, as in other YouTubers, can you still use a G5 daily? It's like, no, everything is broken. It's like, yeah, because nobody gives a F and fix no shit in the shit. But it's amazing. We can fix stuff. We have YouTube content. We can debug Firefox. The future is now. Let's double check that this builds the right config, because sometimes I waited 10 minutes or 4 actually. On G5 it would take an hour or 2, but we epic thread rip cross compile that. So that would be elf ABI version 2 is not that. Let's fingers crossed that is all that broke it, because otherwise we sit here all Sunday and boot one thing after another. Garfield says, downgraded the machines over the years and sell them when I don't have use for them, power, bill, and space. Yeah, totally agree. For me, I don't even really want to buy more machines. I mean, the G5 I have, basically, the G5 I bought first-hand, right? And then the fun fact, I probably said this, I wanted to sell, I also have the dual CPU Xeon, the Mac Pro 2,1, the Intel Xeon, from when my company brought this, right, even with developer discount, probably also 20% or whatever. Still fucking expensive, would never buy it again. I never buy a machine more than medium spec MacBook, and even that I waited 7 years. So when I founded my company, we brought in Mac 2,1. I regretted it quickly because power wasn't even that performant. But I wanted to sell it some years later. Like usually, I mean, as a student, I sold some things like the iBook. Like I needed money, right? Couldn't buy a new one if I didn't sell my old iBook. And the Mac Pro, I was so disappointed by its performance and everything and stuff that I even wanted to sell it 2 years later. But 2 or 3 years later, I think as spec was, I think we paid 6,000. Like it's a dual whatnot, 8 gigs of memory, like freaking expensive, right? In 2007 or whatever, right? We probably paid 6,000, so we got 20% discount. So probably the list price was probably 8,000. And I would never freaking buy, like nowadays you get freaking Threadripper for this stuff, right? Pro tip, unless you have some extremely luxury music studio or whatever stuff, don't buy this extremely overpriced Apple stuff. In retrospect, I regretted it. Would never do it again. I would rather build a Threadripper now than giving Apple 6,000 or 8,000 euros of my hard-earned money. I did it once and I will never do it again. And I wanted to sell it on eBay 3 years later, when it's only 3 years used, still like without a scratch, only as a T2 build server and stuff, and macOS software development, not a scratch, as brand new, still perfectly usable. The maximum eBay bid was 600 freaking euro, and then I had a relative, actually I scammed that, I had a relative like for 600 euro, I didn't want to sell it, like 10% of that 3 years later, right? Because it also was 32-bit EFI. Of course, expert knew 32-bit EFI sucked with macOS, thanks for that, Apple. I had a relative bid on that, relative wanted for 620 whatever euro. So the only time I little bit scammed this eBay stuff, of like didn't want to sell it. I mean, as a seller, you can't even cancel your auction, right? At least you couldn't back in the day. The irony is sometimes now, when I bid on retro stuff, sometimes the auction disappears. It's really like when I didn't want to sell it, I had to have a relative win it, and then we canceled it. Like the scam was, and relative said, nah, whatever, didn't want it, whatever strange stuff, got it somewhat cancelled. But now sometimes my vintage and retro auctions disappear, right? You think, hey, I win some amazing retro thing for 50 euro, and then some of the auction is stopped for item not available anymore. Really strange stuff. Pretty sure that didn't exist. Like, anyway, my point is, the one expensive, overpriced, expensive shit I wanted to sell, people only wanted to bid 600 freaking euro for it after 3 years. 10 so much too. But invest in Apple, it's so much funny stuff. Anyway, that is why I still have it, the Mac Pro, which, nah, it is what it is. But here, so this is machines. I only do that because as a hobby to keep all this stuff with my Linux distribution alive, right? Like basically, imagine if people like me would not have their 23 vintage and retro machines, then everything would be broken. Like there would be nobody freaking left to fix and also no, fix this stuff, right? So we do that in a second, which by the way, I wonder if I ever used kexec on a G5. Did I try that recently? Anyway, so Firefox we need also to do. Let's probably try to reboot this first. Would be amazing if we would have, where am I now? Not even here. umount, by the way, did, whatever. Diff pts, diff proxys temp. Dev is busy. What do we still have? So it doesn't really matter the most. It will unmount anyway. So copy that again. So do we have Linux 6 stuff here? Let's try Linux 6.7.5 with elf-abi version 1. This will install the other because now the package is messed up. I rebuilt this into the other implementation detail. Anyway, I agree for most things, like a machine or 2 or 4 are of course enough. But if I even didn't do any of this stuff for 10 years. I said it before, right? I neglected my T2 Linux actually for 10 years, and you see how much bit rotted, right? If some dedicated, ambitious developers, I said it before, right? From when I used for 10 years macOS as my main desktop, and I only maintained the embedded stuff of toolchain, GCC, binutils, Linux kernel, Xorg, and Xorg, yeah, I did not touch KDE and GNOME at all for 10 years, right? And also many, I mean, of course I used my T2 Linux in that 10 years, but only as secondary, like with black box, right? With black box and Xterm and Xemacs, right? So of course I kept my precious necessity for gracious successful living alive, but not the shit I don't use, right? Not KDE, I didn't waste a single minute of my time of updating KDE, GNOME, XFCE, packaging, modern, whatnot, and all the other convoluted stuff. And it shows, right? And also in this 10 years, I probably didn't buy any vintage and retro stuff. I guess, probably, most likely. But like basically, if I would not return to a successful YouTube channel, and because macOS is now so broken that I like, macOS makes me literally depressive, right? There's, with wallet guard and vendor login and peak bugs, right? Every second thing you click on, like the mail program sucks every time, every year more. I could make a dedicated video of how much Apple Mail sucks, which for a decade was my preferred mail program from 2006 to 2016 or so. And now this bloody program sucks so much that I want to throw my bloody Mac out of the bloody window. It's that bad. File Zumber Sif's file copy is slower than on a bloody Octane or whatnot from 20 years ago. Like basically everything not snappy UI stuff on macOS sucks in the meantime, right? And yeah, thanks to your Patronage, YouTube membership and stuff. Like if it were not for the YouTube channel and keeping this highly portable Linux distribution alive, it would not make, of course, no sense to me, right? Also, the plan is, in the future, I said it before, I certainly dedicated retrospectives of properly pre-edited 10 minutes of that is a machine, that is a history, look inside out, nicely polished with repainted office and stuff and nice studio setup. Probably would 50 or 100,000 views each, SJ Octane, SJ02, and so on. And obviously I try to source them. That's basically the grand plan, right? I like maybe open a museum someday. So the Vintage and Retro Linux Heritage Foundation Museum also. That certainly would be cool. But yeah, without Linux distribution and YouTube channel, I would also not keep 23 machines in my office, obviously. And this probably why everything is broken in between. So let's probably reboot that. Should we actually, do we have a boot? Oh, you don't see that fully, right? Probably I should, okay, I should tmux, but it doesn't boot. Where's the grub config on this old PowerPC installation? Is that the grub config? Maybe not. I have the feeling, I think I only had, I didn't have that entry there. Somehow this, so this was when I prototyped, like this installation was basically when I prototyped grub2 for support and enablement. Oh, wrong keyboard. So that's probably copied into the HFS partition or something. I changed that setup in the meantime. Hey, Burly Bear. When so many comments, which is amazing. Maybe I need an assistant that reads comments. So which was it now? 6, 7, 5. Unfortunately, you don't see this. I'm aware of that. I probably should switch to a behind-the-scenes camera setup that you could actually see the second monitor. But for now, you need to. You can't have the cake and debug the cake and see it too. Hello, can we have? No, we have display. Edit that, grub thing there to 6, 7, 5, T2, 6, 7, 5, T2, or 6, 7, right? Let's try to boot this. Garfield says, think Theo de Raad has a collection of really old machines in his basement and he makes sure that OpenBSD release always works. Kind of, I know from fancier to the channel, oh shit, it somehow didn't find the file, that he also deletes stuff quickly, right? So, for example, Frank here from our Itanium team maintains OpenBSD. So basically, they also dropped SGI support, SGI MIPS64, because it wasn't stable enough, and then so much to, like, if it doesn't just easily work, say OpenBSD just deletes it. It's not like us sitting all weekend and stuff. It's like, 6, 7, was it not 6, 7, 5 T2, or maybe the password, so the fans are in emergency. Like if the SMU doesn't get a fan control command. Ah, this I didn't change, and it's a freaking small text, so I probably didn't change the underscore here to 6, 7, 5 T2. Oh, there's an extra dot. 6, 7, 5. Let's try that. 6, 7, 5. Ah. The font is really smallish. I wonder what kind of font that is. Is it 8x8 or what nonsense is this? Reading 8x8 font or whatnot is a little bit. I mean, obviously the slightly sucking command line editing stuff. Okay, this does not instantly fix it. That is unfortunate. I mean, it could be, you know what? It could actually be that it is booted. Let's maybe, do we have WinFarm built in? Maybe it is booted, and because I have full disk encryption, maybe it's simply ask. The problem is I don't know for what strange reason early in the Linux kernel the num as a caps lock LED doesn't work. I find it, so this I can't test. I thought USB doesn't work. I mean, the fan decreased. What's that? I mean, does this have, I mean, I could, this Mac doesn't have serial port. I could try this on the €6.90 Xserve that I got defect in. Okay, no, the funny that's so no, it's dead. This is still dead. That is disappointing. Because now, so the Linux kernel, I don't know. So I mean, obviously, this typing blind, it does not. Okay, the fix is not that easy. That is rather unfortunate. That is truly unfortunate. Do we still see what other kernel I had here? Alright, this doesn't scroll. I had a slightly newer kernel there, 5 whatever. Yeah, so then it's not a version 2 ABI. I mean, it could be some config thing. I mean, it's funny that it works in... you know what, let's just 5.8. It's funny that it works in QEMU. Ah, this is so disappointing. Oh, darn. Let's autocomplete here the 5. What did I have here? 537. Oops. 5, maybe slightly newer at least. And then I will not reboot for now. I will do this another. Hello? 537, just put some. Let's see, that should probably worked. The irony is, I just recently had T2 running. We just recently made the live stream some months ago, right? So it must be a recent regression. As it works. I mean, it could be something as extremely stupid as our config being, our config being broken because Upstream allows to configure stuff that doesn't work. Because we made open firmware framework for more modular. Shit, why? Ah, darn. That's unfortunate somehow. That sucks, you don't see that. I changed the inner naming, that sucks a little bit. Dev mapper. Do we even have dev root, by the way? No, I need to. No, that sucks. Mount or read write. Yeah, I know that shit. Or read write remount. Ah, that worked. etc fs tab. So it's like I changed our stupid name from dev root fs to root, and now I'm like, yeah, that is of course the thing. If you then boot an old combination, then it doesn't boot anymore due to old-fashioned fs tab technology. Unfortunately, I can't just init 3, or can I? I'm not really sure how much alive. Is this fully alive? No, it's probably not. You know what? Let's better reboot here with. I don't want to have such a. Yeah, it sucks now a little bit. Let's hope we can log in, because now I messed up the terminal for typing. Now we can. Let's reboot again with that. So yeah, it works in QEMU. That is so stupid. I mean, maybe it is just some config issue. So the crazy stuff is just when I auctioned the Xserve, which I never had, for €6.90 because it was dead, and it was just a PSU recap, which I gambled on it. Thankfully, it was. So the capacitors costed more than the machine. I auctioned a Mac G5 Xserve for €6.90 and buy caps for €8. Yay! But yeah, that worked. And that was, I mean, the good thing is testing this random stuff. At least we have some data point of like It worked just recently, so yeah. So what was now the... I need to... Nothing like editing your grub boot stuff here. Thousandth time. But yeah, so much to unit testing and continuous integration, and then at the end of the day it still doesn't work. 537. One press there, tab press there. Why does this not tab complete? Underscore. So this, I changed the names to more amazing names, and now I sometimes, each time I work with a year-old installation, I mean, it's good that I changed it. So much better without bloody underscore. Yeah, the only substitute for testing is more testing. Cheers. So probably 1 hour in, only 45 minutes. 45 minutes in, and we do not yet know more. Kernel is really broken. ELF version 2 ABI doesn't fix it. I think I first tackle Firefox, but yeah, latest kernel broken, Firefox broken. Yeah. We probably should check new 2024. Do we have a term? Bind mount, dev temp, this, proc, shit, dev pts, is it all? Change root here. Actually, you know what, we could maybe, if we kill udiv away here, does it work? Kill all udivd. Change root here. You don't see that. If we start udivd, how do we start this? So? Oh no, it did some stuff. The question is, select Novo on x86. Does this give us mouse auto detect in? Yes, it does. So yeah, new udiv. Yeah, go figure. That gives us, now we have working mouse. Amazing. Also, like, yeah, pro tip, like if you low level fill stuff like that, this is how you do it. So user source, it's, otherwise we probably should actually test it a bit. Like emerge, also tmux, right? Scripts emerge lure, just for system stability testing sake. Let's take a look at the comments. Burlyberry never met productive people using Macs over centuries in IT business. I should make a dedicated video. I think productivity significantly decreased in the last decades. It's not a Mac thing, I think. There's so much bullshit in business, so much controlling and mouse poking, Excel table reporting and meeting shit. Like what I've seen working with other companies and having meetings and stuff in international standardization organization, there's so much time wasting bullshit going on. It's nothing to do with Macs, also Windows, like everything is so efficient. Everyone pretends it's so new and modern and whatnot, and in reality, people are busy feeding their automated workflow and stuff and not getting much done anymore. Is my opinion, but correct me if I'm wrong. Let's take a look at the comments. There were some more. Well, that is emerging lure, and then we continue tackling Firefox. Yesterday was a crappy Chinese. Now it's G5 fixing never ends from Upstream. Yeah, it's absolutely mind blowing. It's thanks for your comments and tokens of appreciation. Is there equivalent of dbootstrap 42? I have no idea what I used other Linux distributions so little that I would need to Google what I heard dbootstrap, like what precisely does it do? You can, so is there equivalent of dbootstrap? I mean, maybe we should add a, so basically what I do, sure, just mount the ISO, loopback mount the ISO, and for all the tarballs extract them. That's basically dbootstrap. So maybe we should make a, that is also the thing, not let's immediately add a to do. There will also be other amazing things. So soon, hopefully in the next month, there will be a, so soon you will be able to curl like top secret projects, installing like Rust and all the other high profile things. Curl HT, it's not yet online, right? I'm working on this. It will come soon. If you thought we are out of cool stuff to do, no, we are not. This was just the beginning, and the hundreds of thousands of views and 10,000 of subscribers on the More main channel. I'm streaming on my More Live channel, not to upset the YouTube algorithm, promoting the heck out of our previously more random channel. This was just the beginning. We have cool things to come, including a microkernel eventually, between now and I retire. But so T2 SDE org take over SH, right? Or whatever bash. I mean, obviously that is how you want to install your Rust compiler. So that is obviously how you want to bootstrap T2 freaking amazing Linux coming next to you, including all the architectures, right? So that's probably, but I wanted to add to my to-do T2 ISO top level dir bootstrap SH and T2 ISO top level dir QEMU. So basically where we can, what would be cool, like all the cool stuff you could do, like shipping the ISO with some auto run QEMU that you can test MIPS Linux and stuff on your stuff, like auto running your, we probably should name it auto run, autorun.sh, something of that sort. Yeah, building Lua in 44 seconds, amazing. Obviously we need neo-fetch necessity for gracious YouTube live streaming. So also you want to see that while I read the comments. People happy with the iMacs, designers, artists, and done work really. Doing nothing work, mini cat PC. Script of Apple, my book can find head, just wire, cannot remember anybody. Salespeople around with Macs and Blackberries. But a Mac dude used Mac's homework, but Proteals and terminals on Linux server start getting to get expensive since I had to pay out of my pocket. The company did not implement bring your own device. Then started working as freelancer, so actually wanted to go back, Mac Studio, but in i9 made more common sense, yeah. Garfield says, at least the glibc still works. Yes, there is no Chinese company. Like, wait until some Chinese company implements open power, ISO or whatnot and breaks that soon. Yeah. Dbootstrap installs a ready-to-use mini environment. Yeah, I figured something like that. So I guessed that from the name and stuff. I literally never used it because since 25 years I have an amazing, I do not need Deborahs and Ians Linux. I have my own freaking Linux. This is why. Yeah, shameless self-promotion. Looks like fight back with microkernel weapon. Yeah, someday I wish I like, maybe I should stop. Should I stop fixing vintage and retro PowerPC and RISC-V things and just do microkernel? I read some microkernel papers. I read some L4 summary thing and actually took my Minix 3 book out and cross-read some stuff to refresh my memory, and wasn't the most amazing I saw there. But the thing is, of course, if I make a microkernel, it is maybe good YouTube content, and if we get it running in a decade or two will be amazing, but like having just the best Linux distribution is sooner, more profit faster, so, and more immediately usable, right? Like until I write a microkernel for 30 architectures, that is certainly a lifetime achievement until I retire. And my Linux distribution, like why do I still spend time with my Linux distribution? Like it is the most working on the most architectures, so between you have something 99.9% working now, or you might have in some years, the easier choice is, of course, instant T2 and element. So there you go, latest 24.2 with an old kernel because broken. Probably let's tackle Firefox first. I probably should check. So the cool thing is with my growing YouTube studio here, the Xserve is just there in the corner. So I can, it probably should be a relatively new installation. So I basically could bring the Xserve over, which is just slightly slower. And also check what kernel installed there. So that must be a very, I mean, yeah, ELF ABI version 2. I mean, maybe they broke some API calls, open firmware calls, but it's speculation. So let's Firefox and then soon call it a day. You probably already want to share, like, subscribe to Patreon, supporting all our efforts here, and Twitch, because probably I don't want to overstream. Like basically I could live stream all Sunday long of fixing stuff to actually work, but that's probably a little bit too much for people's unsubscribing for that. So you probably also want to, like, this is also why we started to live stream even more, like trying the Twitch experience and even more random live stuff for people who truly want to see it all. Probably really should subscribe there too. So so that is there. Let's see what we built for Firefox. Do we disable JIT? I don't remember. So PowerPC. So probably we built with disable JIT. Why would that segmentation fault? So that is, of course, probably we should check the log. We could also collect another data point. So as a data point, what I did with the crazy stuff, right? I got it working on Mipsel, which is certainly way less usable, even less mainstream, more obscure and whatnot. Mipsel works 2 days ago or whatnot. PowerPC, yeah. The craziest thing is I discovered, I thought Firefox had long abandoned their x86 build. They still have a 32-bit x86 build to download, totally to my surprise. And somehow theirs then apparently works. So then I wonder why our Firefox 32-bit is broken when Firefox has an actually build for that. It could also be that they use Clang behind the back, which historically I was more eager to make sure it builds with GCC, but Firefox does configure trickery to escape our supplied compiler. In the past, theoretically, and that's also complexity, right? Theoretically, as far as I know, Firefox only supports building with Clang, but GCC worked, of course, because C and C++ compiler is just a C and C++ compiler. And historically, I had made sure that if my system compiler is GCC, that we build Firefox with a system compiler, because historically I also trusted GCC more. And that worked, but it could also be that Clang miscompiled some code on PowerPC potentially or whatnot. So it could be anything, right? Because between broken compiler, other API deficiencies, between GCC and Clang, JIT or not JIT, or just other Firefox, like disabling some feature and then it crashes with feature not available. Like basically it can be so much, and obviously it doesn't help if you don't have any backtrace, right? Do we have here somewhere where we have, or maybe JIT? So this is somehow we disable WebRTC. Actually, once upon a time, it also, no, actually, now that I see ICU4C, once upon a time, it also crashed in ICU4C, actually. Ah, here. Maybe that is our problem. Good that I have 25 years of experience. Maybe ICU crashes and then... we built the system use ICU, right? The question is, does it? I mean, that would make sense. The ICU, right. And that's the thing, right? Just instead of, I mean, if you, the best thing it would be you attach a debugger and you see precisely what's going on, right? If you don't have any backtrace and information, debug information, whatnot, that's certainly not helpful. ICU4C, let's rebuild that locally natively. That might only take 26 minutes. I mean, the ballpark estimate might be off. Maybe it's as simply as that. That would mean it breaks all power. I mean, let's fingers crossed it's something as easy as that. It still wouldn't explain why x86 doesn't work. x86 is crashing slightly similarly. Run PC BIOS, does it come? Ah, shit. What do I have here now? VNC? Yeah, VNC. Does ICU stuff work for that? ICU... Oh, no, not ICU info. Use your error is good, oh. Is that good or is that not good? ICU initialization returned U0 error. What is that good or not? Is it error or not error? How can stuff be so stupid? This is just hilarious. ICU. U0 error is apparently no error. Wow. Why does this fail? Oh, we need Python. Oh. But why is this not in the cache? Did I not natively rebuild Python ever? ICU for? How old is the cache file? (2023) is not that old. Why is Python not in this cache if it needs that? The problem, of course, then is, I mean, first of all, we want Python in there. Win-win of even the most exotic things, win-win of not only fixing exotic stuff, but making our general T2 user experience better. STU, P, Python. Python wants blues now. You're getting... How can blues be in there? Like, yeah, perfecting our automatically tracked cache dependencies on your G5. And that's T2 is the only Linux distribution where commits regularly come from an SGIO2. PowerPC G5, just need fixed or remove stray blue step from Python cache and added Python to ICU4C cache. Shit. I make a new line for you to see it here, my 16 by 10 screen. Removed stray, and then I nearly committed that wrong. Let me just have password entry for a second. So yeah, actually, I knew, I forgot about this, right? This is why I have it to do with 667 entries. Not to forget it, and then I forgot it, right? I actually knew about that ICU4C. And I fixed it a year ago, and then they changed it upstream and made it more complex for me to fix again. Comment there about the loss of productivity makes me think of worse is better. Observation from Richard Gabriel. Dirty but quick made software is better. Survival chance and software made right. I mean, I would argue, while that might be true and stuff, I would even argue modern software is not even made right. Right. All the modern stuff, like some stuff I would not even know. I mean, not only that SAP and Salesforce is highly inefficient and convoluted stuff, but even software like Monday, right? Obviously, I watch other YouTubers like Sailing the World and Overlanding in their nice VW bus and stuff, Combi or van or whatnot, which probably we should also do too, to be more like overlanding with our SGIO2 to come to a successful crashes happy life, or off-grid cabin and what. And like you watch some off-grid cabin builder thing there in Canada and stuff, and then you get advertisement for Monday.com and stuff. I would never knew about Monday.com or other garbage website, not ever like Wix or whatnot, but Monday.com, like this team building and whatnot, like all this software is not even done right? This is super slow, like worst, inefficient, most inefficient to use, super slow web shit. This is not even done software right. This is like the new style, making it new in the web and more more inefficient than ever. Like, and I even see this. So, for example, we do salaries shit because, like, previously we had some Windows software for salary, like that we of course run in QEMU, Windows XP, QEMU VM, like you run your Linux business. And we now do salary since 10 years. We do salary in some big cloud thing because I didn't want this overly complex and garbage software. Like also previously the Windows software costed 700 euro, whatnot, plus 3, and then every year, and you a forced upgrade every year to keep the bloody overly complex, whether USA or German, overly complex payroll shit up to date with yearly changing laws and stuff. So you were basically forced every year to shed out 300 euro for the bloody Windows software update, and the bloody Windows software was fucking buggy, right? You clicked that too much and you had a .NET runtime exception every other month and whatnot, and so on and so on. So we changed 10 years ago to some cloud payroll shit here, and this is also super annoying, right? I mean, it saves me the hassle of running some bloody Windows XP for some garbage constantly in .NET exception crashing, and then you often monthly need to update. You don't need to pay because you have your yearly 300 euro update, but often, like 10 years ago, you nearly monthly had to apply some bloody update because otherwise for changing laws, you could not use this government state APIs to electronically submit to whatever social security stuff, because every effing month they had a forced update, like click send payroll shit, like bring, please apply latest update, and then the bloody update on a Mac that was running on a Mac Pro. Actually on that Mac Pro I had the fastest, like a decade ago, the fastest machine. Of course I had this Windows XP running in QEMU on the dual Xeon, and then the bloody update run 25 freaking minutes in a dual processor 8-core Mac Pro Intel Xeon thing. Like, how can a bloody update for just a little bit of payroll API should take 25 freaking minutes in a highest end Intel Xeon server? Pfft. Anyway, it's like, and this cloud software every month changes, right? Sometimes people familiar to the payroll stuff, sometimes they spend 15 minutes finding bloody buttons or reading their, because my point is the cloud software not only slow to use, and then they constantly change the API, right? Previously, decades ago, you had a software and it just worked. And now you have a cloud software that every month changes a button. Even also PayPal, right? Doing our transactions in our online store with PayPal. And every month they even, you automate stuff, and every month they change something, right? One over years you get the customer data in the native format, and then they change that the countries are localized. Every quarter, PayPal breaks some of our processing flow because they change API fields, they change. Previously the countries came in English, now they came localized. Like every year you need to update some shit. Previously they came sorted. Like last quarter, the PayPal stuff came unsorted, right? Breaking our processing flow. Why? Because there is US dollar exchange stuff. Previously this came sorted. No, it came unsorted. Like it worked for 10 years. It worked for 10 years with quarterly adoptions. And every month PayPal manages to break some shit. Absolutely mind-blowing. And that is my point. That is the case with lots of, I'm talking about our amazing online store here, right? It's obviously the most minimal possible online store you could do, like professional companies would do. My point is this cloud stuff, slow to use, bloody web browser, and then they are overloaded, right? You urgently need to submit stuff to the government, and you can't because on the last days they need to submit stuff. Their service is so overloaded that you can barely operate the bloody website. But do everything in the cloud, they said. It is amazing, yeah. If it works and you can find the button, or they break the API, and the hellscape that is modern IT in the cloud. Amazing systems we built ourselves. And now they run on the latest and greatest Ampere Alter many core servers, data center farm, like thousands of whatnot servers for all their cloud customers, and it's still slow like a molasses because everything is inefficient cloud shit. Okay, so ICU4C is not breaking on x86, but maybe this is what's breaking Firefox on PowerPC. We usually digressed as usual when you discuss stuff. So the question is, how long does building Python natively on a dual core 2.5 gig G5? But hey, at least it has more memory and probably faster than on PS3. So yeah, that's probably it. So yeah, we make progress. We make progress uncovering regressions daily, and at least fix some stuff daily. Some other stuff still to fix. For a long time, one of the comments there, independent OS from, if there will be, has to be an independent OS from global, big business, big tech. I stopped the Microsoft path with Win 7. Yeah, I basically stopped the Microsoft path since Windows 95. But occasionally had to run like a Windows XP virtual machine for some payroll stuff, which we used for nothing else but the bloody payroll software. Mr. Clemser, thank you for the continuous efforts to underutilized architectures. I mean, PowerPC not even that underutilized, right? But proprietary money anyway, open software really interacts well with closed source stuff. Yeah, also because they break the APIs, right? It's similar to we constantly, like, we do the most minimal integration, and even that PayPal managed to break in one way, shape, or form every quarter. And if it's even just localization, sorting, or other random nonsense, or adding new types, right? Like, of course, we have every week someone who withheld their money of like, the software does not work as advertised. Like, you can download a 14-day free trial, right? As this is also, people are, unfortunately, so stupid. You just freaking download it. Like, there are people who buy the software without downloading and then complain that it doesn't work how they want. It's like why do you license software without downloading it freaking first, right? And then PayPal changes every like once a year, like every quarter something break, and like once a year they change like the money temporarily withheld, conflict resolution stuff. Like I get it. They have billions of customers and a super complex banking like stuff, and it's like, but yeah, it's just a reality, right? And even after 20 years, companies like PayPal, like banks, they like, yeah, they monthly change API details and breaking stuff. So 32 core machines only with Wärmepumpe, yeah. Anyway, But why big technology companies started interest in Linux? They can acquire many Linux distributions, and why they acquired many Linux distributions and open source hardware. My school used Teams, which is basically an electron client. Yeah, it's nowadays all the web stuff is a mistake. Highly a pain to program. Highly inefficient, like orders, not one order of magnitude. No, why is all the web stuff so slow? Like all the web stuff not doing much more than you could do on a 486 or Pentium Power Macintosh 20 years ago. But no, not one order, no. 2 orders at least, if not more, less efficient with painting, drawing the UI, with highly inefficient web technologies. Like, sure, native clients, especially native clients you only had for Windows and Mac or whatnot, but orders of magnitude more efficient, right? And like snappy, right? You do payroll software on a 486 and it was snappy. Like, I remember when we run, what was the Essence framework? When framework, sure, it was text UI, but it was snappy text and spreadsheet processing on a 386. Like when in 1990, Framework 4, who remembers Framework, leave in the comments below, like before there was Word or Excel, I mean, okay, probably Word and Excel, but yeah, when on DOS or other Unix whatnot software, wherever that, like, you could run a company, like imagine in the 80s, you could run a company on Aston State Framework, and it was like snappier than web shit. I rest my case. We need this to build. I will report back later on Twitch or so and stuff. Hope you enjoyed this, learned something. Breakage is real. Go unpack some vintage and retro stuff, test some stuff, and coming full circle back to maybe if just every major developer would adopt just one tiny vintage and retro cute necessity for gracious vintage living and keep it tested, everything would be in perfect shape. Maybe that's a New Year resolution for some others out there. Hope you enjoyed this chat and rant and state of modern web-based UI stuff. Do we even have, why is the stuff not loading? Oh, there we have. Anyway, some people tuned in, some comments, everything amazing. Have a good day and night. See you probably later on Twitch. I probably could unpack the SJ02 and see if Firefox starts there. What we actually could do in the meantime, did we? Nah, maybe we could otherwise build Firefox without system ICU4C, but the question is, would that work? Actually, I think we could last check ICU4C. Do I not have that? I don't have this in my... okay, check our strip wrapper is broken. I did that. So ICU4C cross binary file format stuff. Yeah. See you next time. What more do we have? Matthew enjoys H ledger, plain text accounting, that sort of thing. Sounds amazing. Bought a G5, but it's missing a couple of fans and the graphic card died. That is freaking sad. Of course, there is no console output, so I can't install anything. PSD2 initiative finance prepared to blockchain money and payment. Blockchain will not work for scalability. Blockchain is marketing bullshit. I doubt blockchain will have any serious implementation of anything useful ever. Can you get off-the-shelf cards and I need FlashMac specific firmware on them? Though AGP. Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I hope to see you soon for all the soon, hopefully, more working Firefox and other architecture and figuring out what doesn't boot anymore stuff. Cheers. Cheers. Coffee. Last drop. Cold espresso, only live here after 1 hour of entertainment. 1 hour and 20 minutes.